Hello, this is Daryl Bates, and I am a student at UMUC, currently enrolled in the Data 620 9040 course for the spring 2017 semester. Our professor is Carrie Beam, and the title of this presentation is Homicides in Chicago. The main questions that we'll focus on during this presentation is, was 2016 an odd year for homicides in Chicago? Here we can see an upward trend in the number of homicides going from 2007 to 2016. There was a huge jump from 2015 into 2016 of 285 homicides, which leads the predictive model, or the forecast that we have, to estimate that 2017 is going to end up at 850 homicides, plus or minus 157. I'm not comfortable with this forecast, mainly because I think that it should be more in line with what the other 9 years outside of 2016 were. If we took out 2016, you can see that this trend is relatively flat. By adding this back in, it sends a trend upward. So that's why I believe that the 2017 homicides will be more around the mid 500s to kind of keep in line with the previous trend. We also took a look at arsons by fire and compared that to the homicides. During the same time period, they have a downward trend as opposed to the upward trend of the homicides. Next, we looked at the possessions of heroin. It had the same downward trend as the arsons did. We take that off, and we'll take a look finally at the unlawful use of a gun or other dangerous weapon. Also, again, during the same time period, downward trend. When we take a look at this data, it's really to point out that over the course of 10 years of data, the 8 of the highest 12 months of homicides occurred in 2016. On this view, we're trying to understand the seasonal trend that occurs each year for homicides in Chicago. And as you go through the information, you can kind of see that the highest values per year are occurring in the summer or warmer months of the year, June, July, August, and some in September. The lowest homicide numbers typically are occurring in the winter, in the colder months, January, February, March, and December. Finally, we'll take a look at the top 10 communities versus the bottom 10 communities by number of homicides. A community in Chicago is a group of neighborhoods. So first we'll take a look at the bottom 10. We're going to start and just play this out, and it's going to fill in with the blue male symbol here. And then that's the end of 2016 for the bottom 10. Now let's look at, if we look at the same thing for the top 10, adjust this. We'll play that. And this one has the male symbol, but it's in yellow, and it'll fill in as you would expect. There's going to be more since it's the top 10 number of homicides versus the bottom. And then to get an idea as to what the differences are or where they're located within Chicago, as you can see, the bottom 10 more on the outside of the top 10. Doing research on this, I found some interesting information that for these top 10 communities, the average African American population percentage was 81% in these communities, with a median household income of $27,595. But for the bottom 10, the average African American population percentage was 13%, and they had an annual median household income of $53,343. So I thought that was interesting. To conclude, with regard to our main question, was 2016 an odd year for homicides in Chicago? I would say yes. Again, based on the fact that for 9 years of our data, the homicide numbers stayed relatively flat and were between the low 400s to low 500 range. But in 2016 there was a huge jump. So I think in 2017 the numbers will go back down to kind of keep in line with the previous trend. So yes, 2016 was an odd year for homicides in Chicago.